I just wanted to do that, Zay. I didn't want to forget that. But anyway, we can go forward now, okay? My point that I left off with. If this guy right here, Jayden Daniels, did not have the outing he had last night, Trevor Lawrence would have got more heat. But because this guy had a spectacular coming out party last night, we kind of forgot about Trevor Lawrence's abysmal performance. Salute to Jayden Daniels for that. But the question that we have right now is, now that Jayden Daniels had his coming out party last night, should the Bears have drafted him over Caleb Williams? Zay, we know I'm going to go with you here first. You've been very vocal about this topic. Let it rip.
When the draft happened, I was very adamant that Jayden Daniels would be the better NFL player than Caleb Williams. I thought Caleb Williams in college, very flashy. He had no offensive line. He was running all over the field, extending plays, making huge throws, and people thought that would carry over into the NFL. People thought that style of play would be the X factor in what the Chicago Bears needed, despite them having Justin Fields, one of the most dynamic football players in the NFL. They thought they did not need to fix that offensive line. They thought they needed more weapons. They brought in Keenan Allen. They already had DJ Moore. They brought in DeAndre Swift. They thought this was the answer to all their problems. They drafted Odunze, and they thought this will be it. This will be the year they'll make the playoffs. And boy, they stupid. That Chicago Bears is a dysfunctional franchise. They should have brought in Jayden Daniels. They should have brought in Jayden Daniels for the simple fact he knows how to run an offense through himself. He knows run the ball. He knows where to throw his ball, target, accuracy. He has all the intangibles that Caleb Williams was missing during his stint in college because he wanted to play the hero. He was glamorized all over ESPN, all the major networks, all the major outlets because he was the only guy on his team. Because the rest of the team was not at his tier, at his level to make plays. He does not know how to throw his ball to the star receiver, how to find and make the play. He does not know how to do all these different things. And everyone loved Caleb Williams because of the highlights. Everyone loved it. And now we're seeing it. Jayden Daniels, Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, who the Bears passed on to bring him in for the offensive coordinator position in Chicago. Ridiculous. I guess they was talking to the DB and Bengals talking about he's just a college offensive coordinator. He doesn't really know how to call plays in the NFL. It doesn't make any sense. The Commanders are in a way better position for longevity than the Chicago Bears. The Commanders brought in two different coaches who had success in two different areas. Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, and excelled in their perspective positionings, right? Defense, offense. The Chicago Bears said, no, we got Matt Evers. We're fine. Justin Fields was the problem. He was the issue. He can't make the throws. And now look where we are here. The Chicago Bears look horrendous versus the Indianapolis Colts team that had all of their defensive players on the IR. Look absolutely terrible offensively. But everyone's saying, oh, but Caleb Williams had career-high passing yards. He looked so good offensively. He had 300 yards, 200 yards. He looked terrible. They should have won that game. Caleb Williams is not winning games. You brought in all these weapons to the team for what? To look good? To say we got them? Look at our team on paper? The paper champions? It's horrendous. The Bears did a disservice bringing in Caleb Williams to this dysfunctional team and didn't do their due diligence to know what Jayden Daniels really is. And that's a baller.
I mean, look, to answer this question, whew, man, oh man. All right, I'm gonna try to give the best perspective I can give right now. Now, that last point that you made, right? Because I have a place in my mind that I really want to go, a rabbit hole that I want to go. But that last point that you made is gonna have to allow my rabbit hole to wait for a second, right? Because that last point about they didn't do their due diligence, right? Now, I want to go to that because, you know, obviously they had the top 30 visits where they allowed the top 30 people on their board to come to the facility and they do the extensive, you know, research or whatever, right? But did they really do due diligence, or was it like, okay, Caleb, I like the highlights, we going there? because it kind of felt like that. It kind of felt like he had in his mind, Ryan Poles, that he was going to go with Caleb or Fields. It was either Fields or Caleb. That's it. Now, like I said, I wasn't there. That's he said, she said, but I'm just trying to tell y'all from like how I felt about it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't think Caleb Williams is a bust. I'm not going to go there. It's 3 games, bro. I have so much history in the NFL to just defute that narrative, to just call a guy a bust right now. I'm just not, especially with the play calling, especially with the offensive line. I'm just not going to do that. But I do think, you know, Jayden Daniels is better than Caleb Williams, and I kind of felt that. Now, I mean, I did get. Normally, I'm a guy. What I believe is where I go, and I don't care if 99% of the population disagrees with me or not. But in this example, I did get blinded a little bit in the hype, but then towards the end, if you really peep the moves that I was making, you would know that I was leaning more towards Jayden Daniels being the guy that I just like more. For example, when we did our bold predictions, I predicted Jayden Daniels to be the offensive rookie of the year. All right. This is after the quarterback rankings when I had Caleb higher than Daniels, right? This is closer to the season, right? This is where I got some preseason tape to go off of, right? And then in my fantasy league, and salute to my guy Kenny in the same league as us, 99 pod, right? Caleb Williams was available. I took Jayden Daniels over Caleb Williams. Definitively. Okay, with no thoughts about it. Because I really feel and felt, and I do believe still, and last night showed that I was right, that Daniels is going to be one of them ones. Okay. Now, does that mean they should have drafted him over Caleb? No. Right? I think quarterbacking, we're going to get there more directly in my take for 99 at the end of the show. But it's about development, right? Let me tell you where the Bears really messed up at. Okay, and there's a couple places they messed up, but I just want to hammer in one. I don't know who the hell is texting me so much. Oh my god, I'm getting like text. Damn it, did the president die? Okay, like come on. All right. Anyway, knock on wood. We don't want that. You get my point. But anyway, I don't like being distracted. Okay, I'm a thinker. I'm thinking right now. Anyway, where the Bears messed up at is when they hired Shane Waldron over Cliff Kingsbury. Okay. Cliff Kingsbury is a guy who coached Caleb Williams in college at USC. And damn it, they should have hired that guy. They didn't. Okay. Why wouldn't you hire a coordinator who has experience with the quarterback whom you are drafting when you have the opportunity to? Why not? No, they outsmarted themselves. And Shane Waldron he hasn't been doing his job. Okay. Caleb Williams threw the ball 58 times on Sunday. That is not a recipe to win with a rookie quarterback. Throwing the ball 58 times. I mean, look at the last sequence of the daggone game. You got the linemen falling like some bowling pins. What are we watching here? Okay, the running back, DeAndre Swift, was averaging like 4.5 yards, 4.8 yards per carry last year behind the Eagles' offensive line. He's averaging 1 point something yards per carry. The guy came and get a yard. All right, this offensive line is terrible. Okay. The situation around Caleb is not ideal. And I always thought that the Commanders did a very good job building around Daniels, and it never got credit. I told Zach, I wish he was on the show. I told him numerous times that I do believe they're building a good foundation, a good structure around him. Everybody was so hell-bent on the weapons that Caleb was getting. Oh, they got Keenan Allen. Oh, they got Gerald Everett. Oh, they got this guy, Swift. Okay, this guy. They extended DJ Moore. He got all these weapons and all that. Everybody was looking at that. But I was looking at veteranship. I was looking at coaching staff. I was looking at Dan Quinn. Say what you want. I understand he choked leads in some high-profile situations. Played hard for him. Okay, I'm looking at Cliff Kingsbury. Say what you want. The guy know how to call plays. The guy literally developed, partially, right? I won't give him full credit for developing Patrick Mahomes, but he coached Patrick Mahomes. He coached Kyler Murray. Okay. Yeah, that's a good staff right there. Okay. I'm looking at the veteranship. I'm looking at them bringing in Bobby Wagner, an all-pro, a guy who won a Super Bowl, a guy who knows what it is to be in a locker room. Okay. To groom a rookie quarterback. Li Russell Wilson. Okay, I'm looking at the veteranship, bringing in guys like Austin Eckler. Okay, I'm looking at the veteranship, bringing in guys like there's some other guys that they brought in. I forgot, it's not coming to my brain, but they brought in a couple guys full of veteranship. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, they got a nice locker room foundation. They got a good coaching staff. And when you look at Cliff and what he's able to do compared to a guy like Shane Waldron, he wants you to throw the ball a lot, 58 times, buddy. No, you don't win that way. What Cliff Kingsbury does and did is run the ball, right? Allow those layup throws for Jayden Daniels and play off of that. And that's exactly what they did. So at the end of the day, Cliff Kingsbury, yeah, his offense may be basic. It may be easy, but that's how you groom a guy. You play to his strengths. Daniels was the best quarterback in college football throwing the go balls up the sideline, those fade throws. Okay, in this game last night, he connected on a couple of those to Terry McLaurin. You play to your guy's strengths. Shane Waldron hasn't been doing that for Caleb. The offensive line has been disastrous for Caleb. And Cliff Kingsbury was a good hire for Daniels. So to answer this question, should the Bears have drafted him over Caleb? Yeah, I can argue that Daniels is the better quarterback. However, I wouldn't answer that question that way. It's bigger than Caleb. It's bigger than Daniels.
It's way bigger than Caleb. And that's the whole point. But the Bears made it seem like it was Caleb that was going to take this team somewhere. They made it seem like there was a quarterback away when they added all of these assets to their team opposed to fixing their offensive line. If you would have fixed your offensive line, you could have kept Justin Fields because that was what he was missing the whole time. Offensive line, even when the Mr. Trubisky era was happening, it was offensive line. The offensive line has been an issue for Chicago Bears for the better part of the 2000s. It's been ridiculous how they don't understand that. They think it's the skill positions. It's not. Their defense is outstanding. They're playing great football right now. The issue is the offense can't stay in the damn field at all. It doesn't make any sense how you could just skip over this offensive line. They don't even try to bring an offensive lineman. They don't even attempt. And that's the crazy part. A lot of teams acknowledge that, we have poor offensive line play. We'll go out there and try to overpay a guy.
I mean, you look at Washington's offensive line. They had the worst offensive line in football last year. Washington. That's my point. It goes back to coaching. Even this team literally had the worst offensive line in the NFL last year.
But listen to this. The Washington Commanders pass block grading last year was better than the Rams. Like, we say they had the worst offensive line because the quarterback kept getting sacked. But according to the pass block grading, they were better than the Rams. The Lions were at the top of the top, but they had better pass blocking than the Rams. So the Commanders wasn't as bad as we thought. Because even look at this last night when we watched the game, the Bengals wasn't hitting Jayden Daniels all the time. He was actually pretty protected in that pocket. He was actually looked very comfortable. He looked like a vet the way he was playing quarterback against the Bengals last night. And yes, we understand that Bengals defense isn't great, but when you have a horrible offensive line, any defense can come get pressure at you. And not just the great defenses, any defense in general. And I think last night we saw the Commanders' offensive line actually staying put. And I feel like the Bears don't even attempt to try to protect the quarterback. You bring in Shane Waldron, who was horrible in Seattle. The people in Seattle were saying good luck when he went there. Yeah. Because they knew how bad of a
remember that interview with JSN? Yes. And he asked him about Shane Waldron and what Chicago was going to be getting, and he was he didn't say nothing until he did. It was an awkward silence for a minute.
Correct. So they don't do their due diligence between offensive coordination, between drafting their prospects. They're just looking for the flashy hire, and that's gotten them nowhere. And I've been talking about this off air. Ryan Poles, I found out, was an offensive lineman, right? He's supposed to be this offensive lineman. He's supposed to know your position. How the hell you don't know your position? How the hell you don't know how to bring in guys at your position? You're supposed to know that. You're supposed to do your due diligence, know who to bring in. At least filter some guys out, because like you said before, Zach said it before, offensive linemen, they rather work out or they don't, right? There's really no way to gauge who could be a great offensive lineman in the NFL. So you try to bring people in. Attempt. Don't go after the flashy hires. Don't try to go get Keenan Allen. Don't go out there and draft a Doomsday. Don't go out there and try to bring in DeAndre Swift when your issues are protecting the quarterback in front of you. Caleb Williams might not survive the rest of this season if that offensive line doesn't get better, because it's not looking good right now. It's bad. And like you said, it is bigger than Caleb Williams. It is, because not only is he not going to develop correctly, He's gonna keep running away and running as if he did in college. He's gonna keep running for his life because that's what he did in college, and we're seeing it now. It's happening in the NFL. You can't extend plays like that, and you can't expect that to happen healthy throughout the whole season.
Yeah, I just think a lot of people they underestimate the coordinator hire, excuse me. Because you look at the Saints and you got Clint Kubiak and how he was able to install an offense that allows Derek Carr to play more comfortable, and then you look at, that could have been the Bears, offensive coordinator, right? But they went Shane Waldron. So a lot of people underestimate, switches, in those coaching departments at the top. But look, if you look at Daniels last night, right, and this is how historic he played last night. The Commanders' last 13 possessions, 5 touchdowns, 8 field goals, no punts, and this is the key stat here: no turnovers. Okay, now this is what I like about Cliff Kingsbury. Terry McLaurin came into the game, subpar to his standards, right? Clearly wasn't involved a lot at all in the offense the first 2 weeks of the season. Okay. Now he made a conservative effort to get him the ball. He ended up with 8 catches for 39 yards. Excuse me. It was 8 catches for 39 yards through the first 2 weeks, but he finished with 4 catches for 100 yards, including some big plays down the stretch. And that's where you have a guy like Cliff Kingsbury, who I believe he empowers his guys. As we watch this highlight right here, just throw by Jayden Daniels is accurate down the field. You got a guy who knows how to throw the ball down the field. He was doing that in college. You play to your guy's strengths. He's a quarterback that can run. Okay, look at him right here. He's running. Okay, option play in the red zone. Okay, you play to your guy's strengths. And I think what Cliff Kingsbury has done and what his offense really is empowered the quarterback, give him a lot of responsibility, coach aggressively. They went forward on multiple 4th downs and converted. Now, okay, you've given me more confidence to be more confident in you. Okay. And I think that's the difference here with the play calling when you want to look at Shane Waldron, Caleb's coordinator, and Cliff Daniels coordinator, because Shane wants you to play in structure. He gives you a little bit less freedom because everything is more in structure. Well, Cliff Kingsbury, the offense is more simplified, and you're able to kind of like, control things at the line of scrimmage, call out protections and stuff like that. And there's no reason why the Bears should not have hired that guy, considering his relationship with Caleb Williams already.
This is my last point on this topic. There's going to be multiple things the Bears need to do to even correct this, right? Fired offensive coordinator, hopefully bring in the right guy. Fixed offensive line, hopefully you bring in the right guys. Those 2 things alone take years to figure out. It's not going to be a right away thing. How long in Caleb Williams' career are we going to have to wait to see this Bears correct the dysfunction that has been puzzling them for decades? We do not know. And Ryan Pohl's job might be on the line if the dysfunction continues year after year after year with no improvements, no progression. So if they're expecting this guy to be the franchise quarterback, how many years down the line is the owner going to wait to see some damn progress after allocating all that money towards all these weapons on that offense?
Yeah, and this is my last point here on the Commanders. Look, it was a very improbable win last night by all statistic measures, right? And when you look at the eye test, I mean, there were ample of examples of them missing tackles on defense where I'm like, come on, they miss a lot of tackles. The Bengals was able to get the running game going, but yet they still found a way to win the game. And a lot of that has to do with them keeping the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands late in that game, being aggressive. It's 4th and 4. Okay, Daniels, I'm going to empower you. I'm going to trust in you on this 4th and 4 situation. It was at midfield, bro. Okay, that you're going to end the game. Okay, they're going to bring an all-out blitz. Okay, Lou Amarillo, right, or Rumo, and we're going to target Terry McLaurin up the sideline because you're good at throwing those fade throws, right? And they scored. They believed in him. He delivered, and he delivered a masterful performance last night on Monday Night Football, and we got to give him credit. And yeah, we'll see what happens with Caleb Williams, because I know right now the people in Chicago are chopping at their nails right now because they thought they had that guy. Everybody hyped him up. You know, Zach, he's a top 12 quarterback in the league already, despite him not even playing in the preseason prior to us doing that ranking. Okay.
Listen, real quick. Shout out to Lake Lewis. I'm still a little salty about the Jahan Dotson thing. He was telling me he's going to be I'm still salty about that, but shout out to Lake Lewis because he was definitely talking about Jayden Daniels previously and talking about how locked in this Commanders team is between the Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury. This team has an aura about them that we haven't seen from them quite some time. Hey, listen, I need Lake Lewis back on the show in a couple weeks because if I still see the Commanders rolling, there's going to be some NFC East conversation we need to have, and hopefully we have those conversations sooner than later.
And salute to late Lewis Jr. That's our Washington NFL Commanders insider. Okay, that's why you need to like and subscribe to this channel. We give you the updates. We give you the inside and everything. I mean, we told y'all this before it happened, okay? We had the plug here on this show. Make sure you like and subscribe. We moving on.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, or leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.